One of Britain's best-known entertainers, Des O'Connor, has died at the age of 88. The comedian, singer and TV star died yesterday in hospital.
In 2020, the world lost a dynamic comedian in Des O'Connor. His shows provided amusement to our TVs for decades. His wife has since come out with fresh information that clarifies the true reason of his dying, which was not a fall at home as first reported. So what precisely did his wife just admit? Come with us as we investigate what led to Des O'Connor's untimely demise and analyze his remarkable life choices. It is necessary to examine the British entertainer's illustrious life before delving into the specifics of what his wife just said. The life story of Desmond Bernard O'Connor, a popular TV personality, is just as interesting as the shows he has hosted. Desmond, who was born in 1932, has been transformed into the extraordinary man he is now as a result of a life filled with obstacles, victories, and twists and turns. The vast diversity that has shaped Desmond's life is reflected in his intriguing mixed-race parentage. As a child, Desmond absorbed a diverse cultural milieu that included his Jewish mother and Irish Catholic father. This multicultural background would later color his worldview and define who he is. He would often make light of his mixed Jewish and Irish background. For example, he would joke about being the first O'Connor to celebrate his bar mitzvah. Desmond endured hardship in the form of childhood ailments, such as the crippling rickets, from a young age. His character traits of perseverance and will shone through while he battled severe health issues. He was engaged in a hit-and-run vehicle accident, which put his unbreakable spirit to the test. He had to rely on an iron lung for assistance during his extended rehabilitation time. Desmond drew courage from his siblings' unfaltering support, who were there for him through thick and thin. Another chapter in Desmond's life was written when World War II broke out and he was evacuated to Northampton. His dreams extended much beyond his time spent working at the shoe factory, where he was employed. He showed off his physical ability and competitive spirit by playing local football while still in school, and then as a reserve for Northampton Town, fueled by his enthusiasm for sports. When Desmond left the Royal Air Force, he tried his hand at a few different jobs before he found his niche. Along the way, he met his first wife, Phyllis, and entertained guests at Butlins holiday camp. His career in shoe sales and his time spent working for a bus business were just stepping stones to a theater career, where his charisma and charismatic personality would win over crowds. Desmond got his start in the entertainment industry on the variety stage of a theater in Newcastle before winning over audiences nationwide with his television performances. The fact that he had personal relationships with the renowned Welsh singer Shirley Bassey demonstrates that his charm and brilliance went beyond the stage. Curiously, Desmond also tried his hand at songwriting in the 1950s. With the help of Ray Hartley, an Australian musician, and Sam Brown, a British vocalist, he wrote infectious songs like Let's Do It Again and Start Singing a Song. The trio also wrote the smash hit My Baby Told Me She Loves Me. The much sought-after position of redcoat performer at Butlins summer camps was his big break in 1953. For Desmond, becoming a redcoat was the fulfillment of a lifelong fantasy because these camps were popular vacation spots for many Britons. He swiftly won over audiences as a redcoat thanks to his charismatic performances of singing, dancing, and humorous skits, which set the stage for his subsequent fame. Desmond met Phyllis Gill, who would later become his first wife and a major influence on his life while serving as a redcoat. The encounter was a turning point in Desmond's life, illustrating how his personal and professional lives were intertwined during this pivotal time. A multi-talented performer, Desmond really came into his own in the 50s and 60s. His versatility as a singer, comic, and performer left audiences wanting more, and he worked hard to perfect his craft. After years of practicing and honing his skills, he finally got his big break in 1963. Hosting The Des O'Connor Show on ITV. Desmond shot to stardom and became a household name after this variety program became a ratings behemoth. Being at ease in front of the camera was one of Desmond's strongest points. His charm and genuine friendliness allowed the audience to immediately feel like they were a part of the performance. Desmond has a natural talent for creating an inviting environment that enticed people to return for more, whether it was through his insightful interviews or his humorous skits. However, Desmond's achievements extended beyond television. His unexpected climb to pop stardom in the late 60s caught many by surprise. He showcased his varied abilities even further with 3 top 10 songs that he earned because to his appealing voice and infectious music. Desmond is well recognized as a multi-talented artist who excelled in all areas of the entertainment business. His most hit song, I Pretend, reached an astounding 36 weeks in the UK Top 50. There can be no doubt about Desmond O'Connor's influence on British entertainment. Desmond made an unforgettable impression on the entertainment business from his humble beginnings as a redcoat performer to his meteoric rise to the top of the music charts and his legendary tenure as a TV host. He was unique among entertainers in his capacity to connect with crowds, and his unfaltering commitment to his art form has inspired artists of all stripes. Desmond O'Connor was an international celebrity, not only a hit in Britain. He became famous all over the world because to his boundless skill, which he showcased on famous American TV series like The Ed Sullivan Show. This brought him a new fan base from all over the world. The early 1970s saw the US version of The Des O'Connor Show becoming a smash hit, further establishing Desmond as a famous face. The show's meteoric rise to fame allowed it to become one of the most viewed entertainment shows in the world, with viewers in 44 different countries. Desmond O'Connor has obviously won over millions of people all throughout the globe, regardless of their location. Although Desmond's career was brightest when he was on television, it went much beyond that. Experienced in performing live, he wowed crowds on world-renowned stages. From the Sydney Opera House and the O'Keefe Centre in Toronto to the Glasgow Empire and the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Desmond captivated audiences worldwide with his extraordinary skill. Remember his era at the London Palladium? Desmond performed over 1,000 solo shows there, making it seem like he lived there. His live performances were legendary, and they will be remembered by everyone lucky enough to have witnessed them. Desmond O'Connor had a glittering career, but it wasn't without its share of difficulties. The much-loved British comedy team Morecambe and Wise presented one of the most unexpected and long-lasting obstacles. One of the recurring gags of this successful performance was mocking O'Connor's singing ability, especially the lean Eric Morecambe. They would call an imaginary album The Best of Des O'Connor, a blank record, as if it included no music whatsoever. There was definitely some truth to the jokes, but there was also an underlying current that made them much funnier. With their incisive judgments and smoky club performances, stand-up comics sometimes fancied themselves the unrivaled rulers of wit. People occasionally looked down on entertainers like O'Connor because they depended on their charisma, song and dance routines, and stage presence. Although O'Connor's success as a vocalist was indisputable, she had several top 10 singles, sold records, and amassed legions of fans. Morecambe probably believed his comic skills, which were based on flawless timing and razor-sharp wit, were the better art form. O'Connor agreed to participate on the highly rated BBC series hosted by Morecambe and Wise, which was a calculated bet on his part. Despite being aware that the comedians would inevitably make fun of him, he chose to go along with it. Whenever he wanted to start singing, Morecambe would come up with a ridiculous excuse not to. A microphone going out right then and then, an unexpected rain on stage for no apparent reason, anything to derail the performance and make the crowd laugh. The fact that O'Connor was ready to partake in the mocking helped to ease the pain. It gave the impression that he was a light-hearted, humorous guy who wouldn't take life too seriously. This public persona, however, concealed some deep-seated pain. The continual jokes hurt at first, especially coming from such a revered comic figure, O'Connor said afterwards. He even worried about his career and wondered if people actually valued his abilities. The kindness of O'Connor came through in the end, even if she took a few shots. The world was taken aback when Morecambe had a fatal heart attack in 1968. The gentlemanly O'Connor openly requested that his listeners pray for the comedian's speedy recovery. He anticipated Morecambe's characteristic sarcasm, and sure enough, Morecambe responded with it, expressing gratitude to the 6 or 7 individuals he asserted had prayed for him. O'Connor later admitted that the jokes hurt his pride. Nevertheless, he was cognizant of the fact that Morecambe was portraying an audience favorite, a clumsy counterpart to Ernie Wise, his straight-man sidekick. O'Connor decided to pretend to laugh along for the sake of the show, even though the insults hurt more than she thought. For performers whose specialty wasn't stand-up comedy, this was par for the course. As they treaded the sometimes snobby realm of humor, singers and variety artists frequently walked a tightrope. He made a brilliant move by joining in on Morecambe and Wise's gags. The impact of the jokes became less noticeable as his involvement progressed. The one-sided ridicule gave way to a hilarious back-and-forth between seasoned performers. There was a light-hearted banter between 2 seasoned performers who were at ease on stage, and the audience wasn't only seeing Morecambe make fun of O'Connor. The outrageous antics of Morecambe were enhanced to perfection by O'Connor's deadpan tone and self-deprecating wit. The risk that O'Connor took paid out handsomely in the end. He was a renowned British entertainer for decades after the jokes died out. His reputation was really elevated by his decision to accept the comedy instead than resist it. Suppose he had been irate or even stormed off each time they made fun of his singing. His career may have taken a hit if it had shown him as emotionally fragile and lacking in comedy. Everything about the unspoken laws of show business was familiar to O'Connor. He was aware that coming across as arrogant would exacerbate the situation, heighten the humor, and risk losing the audience's attention. Subtly shifting the power dynamic, he stepped up to the plate as the good sport. His comedy and self-deprecating charisma were so endearing that the crowd couldn't help but join in the laughter. Des O'Connor's career lasted well beyond her brief 1960s stardom. For decades, he was a constant on British television, bringing a sense of familiarity and comfort to people's living rooms. Over the course of the 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, and 1990s, weekends mostly meant Des. He became a household favorite on ITV, where he had a number of series that bore his name. His adaptability and ability to strike a chord with listeners of all ages were clearly demonstrated by his lengthy career. This era of dominance in television began with The Des O'Connor Show, which was shown in its original form from 1963 until 1971, featuring cameos from today's most popular celebrities, entertaining musical acts, and humorous comedy. This variety program has something for everyone. With its successful strategy, the show maintained strong ratings and cemented Des' reputation by keeping people hooked to their TVs. He was more than simply a magnetic presenter. He could also sing, dance, and even hold his own with famous people. He was the ideal host for a show that showcased the diversity of British entertainment because of his multifaceted skills. Des' career took an interesting turn as the 1970s began. It was a perfect fit for his character, so he moved into hosting chat shows. His kind and approachable interview style made visitors feel comfortable, which led to more open and honest dialogue and a more welcoming environment on camera. Des O'Connor Tonight became a television mainstay after its 1977 premiere on BBC Two. His tenure with the national broadcaster ITV spanned 20 years after the show's 1982 transfer, thanks to the show's success. From politicians and athletes to singers and actresses, Des O'Connor Tonight provided a forum for in-depth discussions with a wide variety of individuals. The show was interesting and educational because Des truly cared about the topics covered and could relate to viewers from all walks of life. A tribute to Des's broad appeal and the show's ongoing success, Des O'Connor Tonight drew an astounding 19 million viewers every episode at its height. The event became a nursery for future stand-up comics, so it wasn't simply about promoting existing stars. Des had a remarkable knack for identifying up-and-coming comedians, because to his sharp sense of humor. Many upcoming comedians had their big break on his talk program, which allowed them to perform for a nationwide audience. A genuine who's who of American and British comedy hails from the roster of now household stars that got their start on Des O'Connor tonight. Billy Connolly, Harry Enfield, Jack Dee, and Dara O'Brien were British legends. Jay Leno, Jerry Seinfeld, and Gary Shandling were American classics, and Des' program was crucial in molding the comedy scene on both sides of the Atlantic. I can only fathom the excitement these rising comics must have felt when Des extended an invitation to appear on his show. From the smoky corners of comedy clubs to a huge audience, it was an opportunity for many to experience national exposure for the first time. They wouldn't be thrown into the deep end by Des, the ever-supportive host. Using his wealth of knowledge, he would advise them, make sure they were comfortable, and lead the way. The comedians he helped establish developed a strong feeling of gratitude and loyalty as a result of his nurturing approach. Launching great comedic talents through his program was something he was quite proud of as well. He made good use of his position to bring new, humorous talents to the public, recognizing the potential of television to propel unknowns into the spotlight. Des actually appreciated finding and encouraging fresh talent. This wasn't only about increasing his viewers. In his mind, he was doing more than simply hosting the show. He was also a mentor who might help these up-and-coming comics succeed in the cutthroat comedy business. Talent and vitality were never diminished by Des, even as he elegantly approached his senior years. He made an astonishingly easy shift into daytime television, proving his adaptability. Des co-hosted ITV's Today with Des and Mel with Mel Sykes from 2002 to 2006. His charming personality and quick humor were on full display in this afternoon program, which gave him a fresh opportunity to engage with fans. A year ago in 2007, he tackled yet another challenge, guest hosting Channel 4's legendary quiz program Countdown for an entire season. One further thing that cemented Des's position as a national treasure was seeing him navigate the world of letters and numbers on this adored program. Now that he had mastered talk programs and variety shows, he was taking over daytime television. Des appeared to be adept at every format imaginable. Many additional British TV shows used Des O'Connor even after the Morecambe and Wise show ended. He was a contestant on Would I Lie to You and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. In the latter, he became a reality show buddy with comic Lee Mack. Later in life, Des O'Connor made appearances on panel shows such as Through the Keyhole and Harry Hill's Alien Fun Capsule. Despite being the punchline of the Morecambe and Wise show, he continued to be a beloved and respected figure on British television for a long time. It was impossible to deny his enduring fame and long life. The number of hours that Des O'Connor spent on commercial light entertainment acts is now officially a Guinness World Record holder. This album demonstrated his exceptional talent for relating to listeners of all ages. Fans of all ages could relate to his charming personality and hilarious antics. The fact that Des made one last big TV appearance in 2015 shows how resilient he was. Along with his longtime friend and fellow veteran presenter Jimmy Tarbuck, he made a triumphant comeback to the legendary London Palladium for a one-off performance when he was 83 years old. They sang a few songs and shared stories throughout the evening, in addition to their trademark humor. It was a touching demonstration of their lasting friendship, and proof that Des' natural charm and stage presence were as strong as ever, even in his twilight years. Desmond was an energetic and enthusiastic host even in his twilight years. Playhouse Theatre's 2011 musical Dreamboats and Petticoats featured him in a leading role towards the end of the year. Playing Professor Marvel in the London Palladium's West End production of The Wizard of Oz the next year was another opportunity for him to demonstrate his flexibility. This wasn't a one-and-done deal. He appeared as the Wizard, the tour guide, and the Emerald City doorman, among other roles. Desmond's dedication to hosting events extended beyond his own financial benefit. He performed a fundraiser concert at the London Palladium in 2015, alongside fellow comic Jimmy Tarbuck, with all of the earnings going to the Royal Variety charity. Thanks to the show's tremendous success, they went on a country tour in 2016, entertaining and delighting audiences in places like Bournemouth, Leeds, and Southampton. In 2017, they resumed their UK tour together, playing venues such as Norwich, Blackpool, and Newcastle, thanks to their enduring popularity. There were many highs and lows in Des O'Connor's private life. He was married 4 times in his life, and he was quite forthright about the fact that his 3 first marriages ended because he was so committed to his career. Relationships took a back seat to his obsession with advancing his job. This was more of a result of the demanding nature of the entertainment business than an intentional decision. Even the most solid partnerships can feel the strain of frequent travel, long hours, and the expectation to consistently provide excellent results. The year 1953 marked Des's first marriage to Phyllis Gill. They crossed paths while he was serving as a redcoat in the famous British vacation spot Butlins. Essentially serving as resident entertainers, redcoats would conduct games, present concerts, and keep the energy level high at these exciting resorts, which offered a variety of entertainment and diversions. Des met Phyllis in this hectic setting. They had a daughter, Karen, after their marriage. Unfortunately, the union was short-lived. He probably didn't have much time to cultivate the connection during the early years of his growing career, when he was busy trying to establish himself in the cutthroat entertainment industry. They separated in 1959. Des rekindled his love life the following year, 1960, when he wed Gillian Vaughn. Tracy, born in 1963, and Samantha, born in 1965, were the children of this longer-lasting marriage, which lasted 22 years. Des' career was already moving in the right direction at this point. In 1963, he established himself firmly on British television with the introduction of The Des O'Connor Show. But the same problems that beset his first marriage returned, this time with even more success. Des probably experienced emotional detachment at times due to the long hours and dogged pursuit of professional objectives. Despite Gillian's best efforts to provide a secure environment for their girls, the stress in their relationship led to their 1982 divorce. Des tried her hand at marriage again in 1985 when she wed Jay Roofer. Christina was born of their 5-year marriage, but the couple ultimately decided it wasn't meant to be and filed for a divorce in 1990. It seems that this third broken marriage continued a trend of putting work before family. Still, Des held out hope that he may rediscover love. While Des was a contestant on the 1992 revival of Take Your Pick, he met the presenter, Jody Brooke Wilson. A romance blossomed between them despite the 39-year age difference. After 17 years of being together, they decided to tie the wedding in 2007 because their love was unmistakable. Some people were curious about the 75-year-old Des and 38-year-old Jody's affair, which began in May and ended in December. They were unconcerned with what others thought of their relationship and clearly happy together. Even in his 70s, with Jody at his side, Des felt the thrill of parenting once more. Adam was born to them in 2004, adding to Des's brood of 4 girls from his prior unions. Des once reminisced on the fruitful partnership he and Jody had before they were married, showing that a legal document isn't always needed to cement a great commitment. Their 2007 marriage, however, seemed to be a public declaration of their love and devotion to one another. The intensity of their emotional relationship was unaffected by their delayed wedding, which came after nearly 20 years of being together. O'Connor discovered a soulmate in Wilson, who was unaffected by his performance-obsessed past relationships. Following a fall at his house in Buckinghamshire a week prior, O'Connor passed away peacefully in a hospital on the 14th of November 2020 at the age of 88. Although there is some truth to what the entire globe was informed, it was not the complete truth. Jody Brooke Wilson, his wife, came clean a year later after the fact. Several years before he passed away, she added, Des had been fighting an unspoken sickness. The long-hidden diagnosis of Parkinson's disease was eventually made public. This new information provides more evidence of Des's tremendous resilience and unfaltering determination over his career. By disclosing Des's 2017 diagnosis of Parkinson's illness, Jody removed the curtain from around his health. Since Des had preferred to keep his sickness a secret, this caught many by surprise. Des wanted to avoid public sympathy, Jody said, so he was very secretive. Instead of remembering him for the years of humor and happiness he offered to audiences, he preferred that they not dwell on his health problems. His life's work was entertainment, and he would have hated for anything to diminish its significance. The choice to keep his condition a secret was driven by more than simply a desire to keep up appearances. Des probably struggled with the unpredictability of the progression of his Parkinson's condition. If he had told anyone, they could have speculated about his future in the workforce. Another possible factor was the worry that his admirers will see him less admirably as a result of the illness. Des may have been self-conscious about his deteriorating physical abilities due to Parkinson's disease, fearing that his fans would perceive him as less of a live wire than before. Subtle warning signs of disaster surfaced in 2012. While playing the lead role in a pantomime version of The Wizard of Oz, Des felt an unusual shaking in his hand right before a scene. At the time, he put it down to the performance's expectations and ignored it. Physically rigorous routines and long hours are hallmarks of the theatrical industry. Des's failure to see the warning signs of a more serious underlying ailment is reasonable. However, Des began to have more symptoms throughout the years, and in 2017 she finally made an appointment with a doctor. The diagnosis of Parkinson's disease, which would change the course of his life, came at that time. Des O'Connor's narrative is already moving, but this unseen struggle with a chronic disease really adds depth and determination. Regardless of the difficulties he was experiencing behind closed doors, he persisted in entertaining and making people laugh. His trademark poise and unfaltering optimism shone through as he accepted the news. "Keep taking the tablets and keep smiling." This phrase became his compass, a reflection of his will to not let his disease to define him. It was a straightforward but effective strategy. Des kept his promise and tried to see the bright side. Over the following few years, he kept making public appearances, loving every chance to meet his followers. Instead than letting his health problems steal the show, he wanted to keep making people laugh and smile for as long as he could. Instead of a rapid deterioration, Jody characterized Des's health as a slow one. The consequences of Parkinson's were increasingly apparent as time went on, yet he persisted nonetheless. Des' health began to decline in 2020 when he was 88 years old. They reached a crossroads after suffering a severe fall at their UK home. Des died away that November, but he slept soundly. His family's affection was with him in his last moments, and the legacy he had made over his extraordinary life would last forever. Another challenging element to Des's narrative is his determination to keep his Parkinson's diagnosis confidential until after he passed away. He wanted his vivid performing legacy to be remembered more for his energetic performances than for his sickness or the public's pity for him. Des kept his public story under wraps by not disclosing this information. Instead of being recognized for his health problems, he wished to be remembered for the happiness he offered. This brave and tragic decision reveals his devotion to his work and his ambition to make an impact with his charisma and talent. Des O'Connor's life is an inspiring tale of perseverance, creativity, and humor. He was a record-breaking TV star and a singer-comedian in his early years, and he never stopped making people laugh. He will go down in history as a genuine legend because to his adaptability, self-deprecating humor, and relentless dedication to entertaining crowds. What, therefore, is the most intriguing part of Des O'Connor's narrative? Your viewpoint determines that. Maybe it's because he can completely transform himself in other mediums. Perhaps it's his determination to keep his sickness a secret, which shows how strong he is and how much he wants to be the protagonist of his own story. Maybe it's the fact that he has been doing this for so long. It's a reminder that making people laugh and smile is an eternally powerful force. The many facets of Des O'Connor's legacy make it rich with material for thought and admiration. We appreciate you tuning in, my friends. Before you go, check out some of our other entertaining videos and subscribe to our channel.